So, on this week's episode, yes, we are trying something a little bit different. I have with me Jata. Jata is an Onlyfans model who has agreed to do an interview with us. Why you've decided to come on the Northern Dreamers, I'll never know, but thank you so much. Our first question from the team is firstly, you are an OnlyFans model. Now, how did this start? Was this something that you decided to do? Was it just a hobby to begin with? Take me through it.
So I was actually already doing a bit of glamour modeling and the babe shows, like Babe
Oh
Station.
yeah.
I was doing some of that and I was just getting a little bit fed up with it, really.
Yeah.
I was sort of like falling out of love with it. Because with those things, obviously a lot of other people are in charge and in
Yeah.
control. So when I saw people using OnlyFans, this was back when it first started in 2016.
Yeah.
I saw some of the other girls that I knew were on there, and I was like, oh, what's this? So I signed up, but it wasn't until about 2017 that I started really taking it seriously and making money on there. Before it was just little dribs and drabs. I didn't really
Yeah.
know how to use the site properly. So
Okay, so as you said there, you were falling out of love with the work and you decided to take a different step. Now, in regards to that, was there a community to help you on your way? Or was it just something you jumped into head first? Not much planning, just going off the knowledge that you already had.
I went to work at another channel, and that was different space station, different one.
Okay.
And my friend there, she was telling me how she started making like a lot of money on there, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, mine's only made like like £20 or something. I was like, how do you get people to like? How does it work? How do you get people to sign up? So she started telling me you need to post every day, you need to be promoting it all the time. Whenever you're on the phone to like a caller, maybe mention to them, oh, follow me on Twitter, and then when they follow you on Twitter, they can see you're on OnlyFans. So,
Yeah.
so she sort of helped me at the beginning, but I would say now there's a lot because there's so many more people doing it. There's a
Yeah.
lot more like support groups out there, like group chats and creators like willing to help each other. Whereas before it was kind of there wasn't really as many people to turn to.
With OnlyFans now being absolutely massive, I'm guessing you have to compete with other people. Now, in regards to that, do you have like a friendly rivalry with people, or are you just trying to make the best content you can make to bring people to your site?
Yeah, I think I did think it was going to be like that, like harder when more people signed up. But I actually find that brings more guys, and a lot of the time they don't just sign up to one person.
Mm.
So with more people joining the site and there being more competition, I feel like it has brought more fans.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're taking anyone else's fans because if they like this lady, they might like you as well.
So I've seen on there that a lot of people are advertising other people on there. So other models advertising other models, and follow this person to get this amount of content and this and that and back and forth. Now, do you all agree with that together, or is there a team where you can all speak together? Take me through that.
Yeah, so there's different group chats. So there might be one for like smaller creators, they'll shout each other out, and then medium, bigger ones. So depending on how many fans you have, you would shout someone out with in a similar sort of fan um, range to you.
Yeah.
But then also, if you're newer, or even if you've been doing it for a while, you can always like pay people with a lot more fans than you to give you a shout out. So
Yeah.
you can get the promo from them as well. So that's good. So I feel like most people do want to sort of help each other. Like, but it is like a you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. It's not,
Yeah.
like no one's going to give you a free shout out if you have
Yeah.
a similar amount of fans or you don't want to pay, kind of thing.
Okay, so with a question from the team for you, how has having an OnlyFans page affected your life? Not only your social life, but sort of like your work life, your day to day. Has it affected relationships? Anything on that lines?
I think when I was doing like glamour stuff, I used to get comments and stuff anyway, and people starting on Facebook like arguments. Then when I started doing like the Babe Station, that's when a few of my actual friends were like, "Why are you doing this? You're better than this. Like, why
Yeah.
would you do that?" And I was like, "I thought you're quite an open-minded person." I was quite shocked that some people said that to me. So then when I went on to OnlyFans, it's sort of stayed with, it's
Yeah.
how much worse could it be? So the people that didn't like it would still not like it now, and
Yeah.
yeah, so I do feel like it did impact some friendships because some people weren't willing to accept me doing this kind of work. But then you think, well, are they the people you'd want around you anyway? If they're
Exactly.
going to judge
Yeah.
you for what you want to do.
So behind the type of work you do, there is a very big stigma. I mean, sex worker at the moment, people don't see it as a real job and things like that, whereas a lot of other people do, and it's hard to sort of find that balance. Now, in regards to that, how do you deal with the stigma behind everything? How has it affected you?
I think in the past it used to bother me a lot more.
Yeah.
But then and I used to get into arguments with people more and rise to it. Whereas now I kind of think, well, they've sort of gone along life a certain way. They thought, oh, you go to school, you do good grades in school, you go to uni, you get a good job, all those things. So they don't necessarily think, oh, that you could do these things. And that's why they say it was wrong, because it's not in that path that they've sort of been like conditioned to be in.
Yeah.
So I feel that, so when I look at it that way, I can see why they're a bit like, oh, and also I think a lot of it comes down to insecurity as well.
Yeah.
Like they're seeing that there's people out there that are confident in themselves and like their sexuality, and maybe they're not, so they want to sort of, like throw stones to make themselves feel a bit better about how
Yeah.
they're feeling inside. So when I think about that, like I think, oh, there's no point rising to it, because no one who's really happy with themselves and in life would be like that, would start
Yeah.
attacking people for no reason just because of their job. So
Yeah. So the whole reason we started the show was to do with our mental health, to help us out, have our friends to talk to and things like that. Obviously, we were all going through different things at the time of starting the show. Now, how has doing what you do affected your mental health? Has it helped you? Has it been there when you've needed it? And is it that escape that you're looking for?
yeah, that's a really interesting question. So when I was younger, when I was at school, I was actually like bullied quite a lot, and like called like ugly every day, or blonde bimbo, blonde slag, like all these names.
Yeah.
And it was really weird because then when I turned 18 and started doing like the glamour kind of stuff, I still had in my head, oh, you've been called like ugly every day for like
Yeah.
all these years. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, can we hire you to take photos? So it's kind of like it's like what?
You take a step back.
Weird to,
You take a step back, don't you? You sort of hang
yeah.
on a minute. I thought I was this, but you're telling me I'm something else. And I suppose now that you're doing your OnlyFans, I suppose you get a lot of compliments now. And I mean, does that sort of help with your own way of thinking as well, or is
Yeah.
it you just sort of push them to one side and think to yourself, I know who I am. I like who I am. You don't have to tell me I am. It's
Yeah, definitely. It is nice to have people sign up. They like you, they like the way you look, but
yeah,
it's also a lot of the people on there, they're quite nice to talk to as well, and like hearing about their life, and they'll come on and like they'll check in on me most days, say, oh, how are you today? What you've been up to today? And then I'll do the same for them, and it's quite nice to get that sort of like little like connection, little friendship with
yeah,
some of the fans don't say anything, they'll just join and not message you at all, but there
yeah,
is a lot on there that do want that connection.
yeah,
So that is nice. And if they're feeling a bit sad, like especially over lockdown as well, I did say to all my fans, like if you want to talk about anything like over lockdown, if you're feeling a bit down, you can always come on here, and
yeah,
hopefully it'll brighten your day a bit, like seeing some pictures and having a chat.
yeah. Another question from one of the members of the team. With lockdown hopefully coming to an end, have you got any plans? What can your fans expect to see in the future? You got anything lined up?
So I did have like this little villa booked so I could go and like shoot lots of pictures and lots of content. So I was quite disappointed that got cancelled, but obviously I understand. So when things open up again, it would be nice to go somewhere like that where I can just shoot loads of content that's different to just shooting in my house. So it would be like outdoors, in the pool, things like that. So it was sort of like liven the page up a little bit, because I feel
Yeah,
like there's only so much you can shoot at home locked down. So sometimes you do feel a bit like, oh, hopefully
Yeah.
do now. So I am looking forward to being able to do that, and also like hiring other studios to shoot content in that I've got different sets, so I can get different themes for the members, because I just was a bit worried that they get a bit bored. So
Yeah.
So this week's episode has been all about hobbies, and that's what we're discussing. Now, what sort of hobbies do you have that are outside of your OnlyFans? You know, is it the traditional sort of things, or is it something a bit different?
So I really, really like animals, and one day I'd love to have some land with some animal like rescues and
Yeah.
some cats and dogs. So I basically over lockdown, I got back in touch with someone that I went to school with, and their family actually has like a place with animals. Some are rescues, some are their own kind of like pets,
Yeah.
and there's like snakes, lizards, meerkats, raccoons. So I started volunteering there
Okay.
a couple of days a week, and it's been obviously it's been so nice just to get out of the house and do something, but to actually be able to like interact and learn how to care for different types of animals, that's been really fun. So I know it's kind of like a job because you're going into work,
Yeah.
but it is voluntary, so I do see it as a hobby.
So
But
it's something fun, basically.
yeah, it
Something
is
you
fun.
enjoy doing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there is parts where obviously I have to clean up a lot of like
mean,
so I do have to do that. It's not all like just cuddles and stuff with like cute animals, but yeah, it's been a learning experience. It's been really fun. So, and
yeah.
hopefully being there will help me in the future if I want to have animals myself.
So, as you just said there, you enjoy volunteering. Now, obviously, it is technically a job. Now, how do you keep that life separate from your OnlyFans life? Now, can you partition it quite easily? And how do you go about that? You know, any tips, any hints that you can give us, especially us as the hosts? Separating our lives sometimes can be quite difficult.
Sometimes I do struggle. I do get tired and come home and I know I've got like loads of things to do for the website, and I'll just end up falling asleep on the sofa. So I, but I find like trying to get things done, like trying waking up a bit earlier, because I used to be like quite a night owl, going to sleep quite
Yeah.
late. So I found like trying to get things done in the morning before everything else, that's helped me, and like writing out a list of things to do,
Yeah.
and trying to stick to it. It's really hard sometimes to have the self-discipline. You know, when you're working for yourself, so there's not someone there shouting at you like
Yeah.
you should have finished this by now. So you've got
Yeah.
to you've got to learn self-discipline. It can be a bit hard. Like
Yeah.
obviously running a page, you want to update it every single day and be promoting yourself, constantly keeping on top of it. And sometimes it can be a bit too much, and sometimes you can feel like burnt out as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah.
it can be hard to separate the two. Sometimes I'll be like there relaxing watching a movie, but then I'm still answering messages. So
So, in regards to everything you're doing at the moment, where did you see yourself growing up? You know, did you have a career in mind that you wanted to do? And how has that changed? Has it changed drastically for you? Are you still looking to do what you wanted to do growing up?
I did always like animals, so in one way I have been able to fulfill that. But I always wanted to be like a fashion model as well,
Yeah.
or be a fashion designer. I was really into that. But I'm not very tall, so so that wasn't really ever going to happen. So yeah, so it was more sort of into that. Like I just really like watching catwalks and Kate Moss. Like I was just really like in awe of watching things like that. So I think that's why when I was like old enough to do glamour, I was like, well, it's not fashion modeling, but
It's the next best
something.
thing.
Yeah, it's the next best thing. So I guess I've managed to be able to do what I did want, apart from
Yeah.
fashion designer.
So I'm not going to keep you much longer. First off, again, just want to say thank you so much for doing this. Now, the last question does come from a friend of my girlfriend's who has asked, how do you get into making an OnlyFans page and what advice can you give?
I would say if she has a friend or she knows anyone that already does it, it would be good to use their referral link. Like you can refer
Yeah.
users,
Okay.
and then they get a percentage of OnlyFans cut. So you don't lose out on any money. They take 5% from OnlyFans, and
Okay.
then they can help you and promote you on their page, and they're getting a little something from it for putting all that effort and coaching into
Yeah.
you. So it'd be good if you know someone who's already doing it, to use their link, or find someone who's popular on social media, and ask for their link, or my link, I don't know, someone, anyone's link who's been doing it for a while, who can
Yeah.
steer you in the right direction. Then there's also group chats on Telegram. I don't know if that messaging app.
Yeah.
So a lot of creators on OnlyFans use that to message each other, support each other. There's shout out groups on there, and then there's also just like chat groups for support. I would say like Twitter and Reddit are the best places to promote yourself, that are more safe for work. Like you could use TikTok, but obviously if it's a little bit too obvious while you're on there, they can ban your page. So
so basically be careful with where you post it.
Be careful where you're promoting it, but promote as often as you can. And if you wanted to just keep costs low at the start and not have to pay for loads of equipment, maybe take photos in natural light facing a window, things like that. So yeah, and you need obviously you need the valid ID to sign up and all those things. I don't know. But I would say reach out to other creators though, and see if someone could take you under their wing.
Jata, thank you so much for being on this week's episode. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Now, guys, if you want to, you can follow Jata on OnlyFans. We've posted a link on our page, and there will also be a link to her Twitter as well. So go and check her out. See what you think of her content. Give her a like, follow her, all the usual stuff. And now it's back to this week's episode.